Good evening, everyone. The City Council Committee on Public Health, Safety, and Environment, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, met in the City Council chamber on June 26, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. for the purpose of discussing tour bus ordinance. Notice of this meeting was posted on June 23, 2025 at 3:03 p.m. Absent from the committee, none. In attendance from the Committee of the Whole, Councilors Hapworth and Morcillo. So I'm just going to start by saying that I've had a lot of nightmares about tour buses, so now we're going to have this meeting. So at the last meeting we had, we voted on a couple of things, and we referred those decisions to the full council, but when we got to the full council, we realized that there was a paragraph with the language, especially the dimensions of one of the Washington Square stops was not accurate. So Councilor Hapworth and I got together with Lieutenant Tucker, and what's in front of you on your desk is the description and what we're adding. So I'm going to do just a real quick recap. And that is, and thank you, Councilor Proznuski is joining us from the Committee of the Whole. So we did a few things. One is that there's two stops in Ward 5. One is brand new, which is at New Derby Street in front of the bank, is going to be a drop-off. Also in Ward 5 on Canal Street, the length of the tour bus parking has gone from 220 to 500 feet. And then we really talked about several issues. One is the committee voted to delete a drop-off parking on Bridge Street near the old jail. And then we changed the other Washington Square stops from to 10-minute drop-off only from longer periods of time. And then the last thing we did was change the actual dimensions of the Washington Square stop. And that's reflected in the detail that you have in front of you. And I'm just going to ask Councilor Hapworth if you wanted to add anything to this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so we took recommendations from the Traffic and Parking Commission and from Lieutenant Tucker and Christina Hodge, which were just about everything that Councilor Cohen just outlined. One of the ones that, as he mentioned, that we removed was there was a recommended drop-off zone between the old Salem jail and Howard Street along Bridge Street. There was not a sightline study done there. There was a lot of concerns, at least on my part and on others' parts, about just the safety of pulling out of Howard Street and just the amount of cars pulling in, pedestrian safety with the crosswalk there, specifically without a sightline study done there for what that would do to pedestrians. So that was removed. And then initially, the only change around the common was to extend tour bus parking down from Goodnight Fatty towards the old Main Street along Washington Square West. The change that we as a committee voted to do, this would have allowed for one extra tour bus. The change that we as a committee voted to do was to make that all 10-minute parking, both both along Goodnight Fatty and along the Hawthorne Hotel to allow tour buses to drop and then allow police officers or themselves to move themselves along to Ford Avenue where they're outside of the city limits, and other tour buses can come off and do their drops, and we don't have drop-offs happening in the middle of the street and crosswalks.
Yeah, so I wanted to give one more detail. So the Washington Square West stop, in the original language, was a 1-hour limit, and the Washington Square South was a 2-hour limit. So our recommendation at the last meeting was to turn those into 10-minute drops. Councilor Hepworth?
Just want to add one extra thing. This is October only, as you can probably see here in the ordinance.
October only. There is, Councilor Hepworth let me know that there is potentially an initiative to have a working group or to discuss reviewing what would happen outside of October. So this ordinance is just for October. Is there any other questions, comments? No? Councilor Jers?
I make a motion, we approve this?
Well, let me look and see if we have anyone to do public comment first. No one online. Anyone in the room? Is there anyone in the room who would like to do public comment? Okay, seeing none. Councilor Jerslow.
I make a motion, we send this back to the council with a positive recommendation.
Terrific. Councilor Jerzo recommends that we send this to the full council with a positive recommendation.
Second it.
Seconded by Councilor Harvey. All in favor? I see 4 hands plus my own. That's 5-0. This was slightly shorter than the last meeting, which I really appreciate. I will entertain another motion. Councilor Harvey.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Councilor Harvey makes motion to adjourn. All in favor? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.